Good morning, everybody. Mestre Vibes. Today's topic I want to talk about is just how people look at me. Not how they think about me, but the understanding that being an instructor or a master, you have to have the understanding people are watching you, whether you think so or not, or whether you want the attention or not. Once you take up the mantle of being a master or an instructor or a group leader of any kind, people are going to be watching you. The bad part is some people get jealous and they can't wait to knock you off your pedestal. The good news is that you can rally support and you can help guide people if you're coming from a good place to do something better. For example, me, through capoeira, that people are looking also puts a responsibility on me, whether I want it or not. It's there. So I think it's really important for people to understand being a master, also an instructor. I don't want to keep going back and forth, so I'm going to use the word master, whether you're a master or not. And people are watching. So let's keep that in mind. I think it's important. It can be a very positive tool to gain support and to enact things or projects that you might not have a chance to do regularly. The second thing, I was laughing because sometimes I catch myself with a small point and keep, correcting it when someone's training or something. Like, no, the negativa, just a little bit more. Just turn here, put your hand there, looking, all these little points. And I realized mastering more than anything, especially when you're teaching, is coaching. Has there ever been a coach who never said anything? No, they're constantly saying, okay, a little bit better here, a little bit better, because we have to be perfectionists. I don't expect my students ever to be perfect. I don't expect me to be perfect. But I do believe we have to constantly strive to be better. I know it's hard for people to constantly be motivated and constantly move forward, and it's not everyone who can do it, and not everyone. This is just the reality of life. But I think for me, being a master, it's really important to push people. That's lack of a better word, but simple understanding, push people. Try to motivate people. A helping hand, guiding, but coaching. Not just in capoeira, but in life. Sometimes people don't want to hear it. Sometimes people, they're hearing it too much. But at the end of the day, when you don't do it, then people aren't going to be moving forward. So coaching, I think it's something we also have to keep in mind as a mestre of capoeira. We are coaches, and we got to keep supporting and taking forward, which takes me to something that I really, really hold very dear to my heart. The concept that we don't just build down, we got to build up. I know it sounds simple, but a lot of times people are building down. For example, it's okay to be a little bit strong, hard when you're doing something because you're passionate about it. I'm passionate about teaching capoeira. Any of my students, anyone who's ever done one of my workshops knows I am so passionate and more in love with capoeira every day of my life. So sometimes when I'm teaching, I know it can be a little bit intense. Just because I'm excited, I love it. I sit there sometimes and I can't believe with so many things in the world, so many things to do, people are using their resources, their free time to come learn capoeira from me. People could be out doing yoga and they're here with me, and I still can't believe it sometimes, People are still here. So I want to give them my best and pass as much as I can. So sometimes I'm a little intense. How you follow up on the intensity is what's really important. Yeah, you can yell. Sometimes you can get frustrated. We're all human. I know I am. But then you got to remember not to let ego or short-sightedness take over. Later, for example, if I get intense and I raise my voice, I'll be honest, I yell. No one's perfect. I go back and then I build up. I said, look, this is what went on. I got excited, but this is what your side's doing, and let's move forward and push it up. Capoeira training, music training, anything. You've got to build up. Be careful the difference between building up and inflating. I've seen this happen a lot where it's a human characteristic, right? Teachers inflate. Oh, you're so great, when actually they haven't done that much. You've got to regulate your compliments as much as you need to regulate your intensity. I know it's hard. I know it's hard for me. If you can regulate, then you can also build up, because everything is about a process. You're making it better and better and better, a process. And we're building up. Because why would anyone want to do anything like capoeira, especially something like capoeira that's so you're multitasking all the time. In the hall that you're playing, the music, you're singing, the different instruments, acrobatics, the fight, the jogo, the game, malise, everything in the roda you experience as a human being. Happiness, sadness, frustration, ego, everything. We have to remember to really, build up as a master. It's something I've been thinking about, especially over the I thought I did, but to be honest, I have to really remind myself to build up. It's got to become a habit. And I think now I can say, it's a habit for me to build up. A mestre has to lead by example. And in that, it's the constant study to move forward. Does a doctor stop studying when he graduates and starts practicing? No, there's new things coming out. Always new things coming out. I have a friend who I respect and has all my love. He's one of my best friends, and he works IT, and he's constantly reading all the time. I am so impressed by how much he reads that it just, wow. But I got to do the same, right? Constantly reading books, experience of slave trade, anything that's going to build your background. If you're doing mastering of capoeira, you cannot limit yourself to capoeira. I know not every book is perfect, not everything, and people are going to say, oh, that's not good, this is good. I'm learning more and more about music, how music works, the cultural background, constantly enriching myself to be a better master. Knowledge is not only power, but knowledge is structure. Knowledge is something that you can pass on to people, to your students. So as a master, I really believe you need to constantly be studying. And there's no excuse. There's so much more information now than there was years ago. I remember doing my master's degree in Latin American studies at San Diego State, and how excited I was when I found out as a graduate student, you can request books from other university library. Yeah, books, not electronic files, nothing. I actually had to wait a week or two for that book, and I had to go through the card catalogs, and I've done it all. And fortunately, by the time I got to college, we had the computer, but I got information about old books printed in Portuguese, about capoeira, slave resistance, anything I could get my hands on. I really believe that that's created a lot of structure and a lot of confidence in what I do. So constantly studying is very important. Not only just, I want to learn a new rhythm. Not only, I'm going to learn a new song. Yes, that's important. But there's a lot of things behind the scenes that I believe a master should do. A really good friend of mine stayed at his house, a master of capoeira, and on the shelf he had books. And I never forget these kind of things. I say, wow, it's important to constantly reading. You don't have to read 50 books a month, but I would say read something every few months, get your brain going, enrich yourself with the supporting information of capoeira. The final thing I really thought what keeps me going is I gotta have faith in myself. I have to have the faith in the belief that what I'm doing is right, have a goal, have faith in that goal, make a plan, have faith in that plan. Most importantly, have faith in the word mastery and what I believe it entails, and faithfully follow that. With this series just starting, we're putting out some concepts, and I hope you guys like it. Ashe.